Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Hunter from Baader AstroPhotography back here with another video, and we're going to be talking about the Seestar S50 and some wonderful accessories that you have access to be able to really improve your overall experience with these smart telescopes. Now, you've been living under a rock for the past year or so and have no idea what this is. This is a smart telescope that was made from the company ZWO. It's basically an all-in-one telescope because you can use it for planetary viewing, like with the moon, planets. It has the ability to actually look at sunspots with the appropriate solar filter. It has a camera on the inside of here, which will able to do astrophotography with very little ease and be able to control with a smartphone. So with all that, what else could you actually want to have with the Seestar? Well, there is a lot of accessories out there that makes life a little bit easier, especially when having the initial setup, trying to find some certain objects when the go-to feature is not quite working for you when you want it to, and even for travel aspects, that be able to have, external power and not have to worry about some cable snags. So that is going to be the topic for today's video. We're going to be talking about some much needed accessories for the Seestar that is available now. Now, there's plenty of accessories for the Seestar that can make your life a lot easier, but I think the top one that you need to get, which sits in between your Seestar and the tripod itself, and it helps you get the quickest and easiest way to level your Seestar without dealing with the tripod. And that's what this little device right here is. It is a fine-tuning leveler from Newer that you can get, which attaches right to your tripod and the Seestar, and it makes things so much easier by using these little twist knobs here, so you can fine-tune your leveling for the Seestar. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at what this is. So what we have here underneath the Seestar is this adapter, and you have three separate little twist knobs here which adjust the level just based on that side. You also have a little bit of a bubble leveler here, but this here will be able to fine-tune and be able to really level your Seestar very quickly. That, for myself, since I've been using this, I've been able to level my Seestar within under 30 seconds, and then having to deal with moving these up and down. Actually, I just leave these fully extended now and only just focus on this. So we're gonna do an example of how quickly we can level our Seestar with this accessory. So let's go ahead and see how quickly we can level our Seestar. You will also be seeing on the tablet screen here off in the corner, just to show how quick and easy this is once you really get the hang of this. So you use each one of these twists at a time so you can see what direction you need to go. So like we're getting a little bit closer here, and getting much closer, and boom, right there, 0.1, pretty darn good. And look how fast that took, within maybe 10-15 seconds. So definitely much needed accessory to make your life a little bit easier than having to deal with the tripods. These are available multiple places: High Point Scientific, Agena Astro, or even on Amazon. I'll have links to this one here. Now we're heading to the solar photography aspect, which a lot of people love to use the Seestar, like myself, on looking at sunspots on the sun. And it's really nice to be able to do this with basically a universal telescope. But you may have encountered sometimes here and there when you tell it to go to for the sun and it doesn't put the sun in the center for you. Well, I mean, it happens from time to time. Most of the time it does a pretty good job, but if it can't find the sun, you're out there struggling trying to see exactly where it is in the sky. So you need a little bit of an assistance. So that's where this little device comes in handy. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, what is this contraption here? Well, this is a solar finder that is 3D printed from my Astro shop here on Etsy, on Astro Prints. And this has a little pinhole right here to allow just a little bit of some light to pass through. And this is a two-part system where you do have what looks like a target in the back. So what happens is when sunlight goes through the little pinhole, it will actually project onto the little target here. So when you install this onto your Seestar, it would actually be a solar finder. Now you see, hydrogen alpha telescopes, like the TeleVue solar finder. It's a similar aspect, but this is made specifically for the Seestar. And all you have to do is just connect the back end of this, and it is fitted right to the objective of your Seestar. And the nice part is too, you can use solar filters to put right in front of that as well, and it makes it a nice snug fit. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to do a test. We're going to see if the Seestar will be able to find the sun right now, just as is, with the solar filter. And if it doesn't happen to find it, we can look right on here and be able to make those fine-tune adjustments. So let's go ahead and give her a shot. All right, so we got our solar finder and the stock solar filter here. So let's go ahead and try and see if we can find the sun. So we're gonna go into solar system, hit the go to, and we're gonna say, yep, that is installed and shooting. So it's gonna go try and find the sun now. So we're gonna let it do its thing here, and we'll see how it does. And if it happens to fail, guess what? We have a secondary solution for that. Well, luckily on the first go that the Seestar was able to find the sun, as we can see from the display here. But I want to show you on the actual solar finder what it looks like when you actually have to manually adjust where the sun is with the solar finder. So here's a prime example of the little tiny pinhole, but if we go over to the target, you can see I did move the sun away a little bit. You can see a little bit of a reflection right here of the sun towards the back of the target. So what you need to do is, when you're looking at the Seestar, you need to go ahead and use your joystick, and we make it go basically right towards the center of the target. So we're going to do that as an example. And right there in the middle, we should now have the sun. Easy as that. Now that you got your solar finder working, the sun is centered with the standard solar filter, you're ready for some sunspot experiences. But what if I told you there is something else that can really improve your solar viewing experience, and it has to deal with the kind of filter. Now, with the Seestar, you are lucky enough that you do get a solar filter made from black polymer, and it gives it that nice orange look, kind of like natural. But what if I told you something else in the market that can make those sunspots, regions, and your views of the sun significantly better? And it's right inside of this box here. So what is it, you may ask? Well, if you're very familiar with solar film from Baader, now they have been notorious for some of the best solar film out there, you have something like this. So what this is, it's a 3D printed model, two-piece system, but on the inside here, you have Baader solar film. Now, the differences between, say, the regular solar filter and this, well, has to deal with color for one. This provides you more of that orange natural look. This is black and white, but the quality is significantly higher. So I'm going to show you a comparison between taking just a 1-minute video. We're going to stack both of these images together between these two filters, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So first we're going to start off with the stock solar filter here. We're going to do 1 minute video, and then we're going to switch over to this, and you'll be able to see the clear differences just between the stock filter and the Baader film that has been modified into this 3D printed filter. So let's go ahead and shoot in the raw format, 1 minute. It's already in focus, so we're going to let this run for 1 minute, and then we're going to switch to this one and see the differences in between. So we're approaching the 1 minute mark, and I'm going to go ahead and stop it right at that moment when it does, and there we go. We have a 1 minute video of the sun with the stock filter that we're going to stack inside of the software, but first we're going to go ahead and swap it out for this one. Now, I am going to be standing in front of this for the moment, so it doesn't cause my sensor to blow out for the most part. So we're gonna slide that out through, and then we're gonna pop this filter right on. There we go. And now we have a big difference in the view of the sun. It is black and white. So now we're going to do an autofocus on this, and then we're going to do another 1 minute video with this filter here. So go ahead and start that up. I got to make sure that it's in the raw format as well. And there we go. Now we wait for a minute and see what happens. Alright, so we're approaching the 1 minute mark with the modified solar filter here, and we're going to stop it now. Alright, so now we have both of those. Let's go ahead and get ready to stack them, but definitely want to zoom in a little bit that you can see we have some decent sunspots that are out there today. But if you definitely have noticed when using just the stock filter and even just zooming in with this filter here, you can see there's a lot more contrast, so you're going to notice some pretty big results. So let's see to the test. We're going to allow the Seestar inside the app to stack both of the photos, not using any other software, just whatever is available right from the get-go. So now we have the first stack ready with the stock solar filter here. So let's go ahead and check and see what it looks like, and this is what we're left with. So we're going to do a few little edits here. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of some, image processing, like changing up the brightness, bringing up some contrast a little bit. That looks pretty good. Add a little bit of some sharpening in those areas. Don't want to go too overboard. Got some, basic tools here. A little bit of some denoise, and that's about it right there. Looks pretty good for the most part. You can see the nice dark areas here. I mean, we could use a little bit more sharpening, but if you use too much sharpening, it becomes a little bit over, granulated, especially with this filter here. So there we go. There's that final result for the stock filter. So we're going to go ahead and stack the other one now. Now that we have our upgraded filter ready to be processed, the stack is complete, so let's go ahead and check it out. So right off the bat, I am already seeing much greater kind of granular detail, especially around the sunspots. So we're going to do the same thing, go into the editor and do some slight adjustments. Like for overall contrast, we're going to add some contrast to this. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive with the contrast. We'll go over to sharpening. Go ahead and sharpen our image a little bit with some slight denoise. And already, look at the difference here. You can see a lot more of the granular detail, especially on the left side of the image, and especially once we go over towards the right side of the disc here. Those areas didn't even show up on the standard Seestar solar filter. So we're going to add a little bit more denoise to this. We can add some sharpening. Now, if you're not a fan of the black and white aspect, you can change this in post-processing, of like, you know, the color of the overall image. You can even crank this up all the way if you want to some very cool colors, but I definitely just recommend, you know, using the black and white because that seems to work just fine. Turn down a little bit of the brightness, and right there is a pretty darn good image. So in comparison, I'm going to show both the Seestar on the left and the Baader modified solar filter on the right, so you can visually see the key differences between the two filters taken at the same exposure around the same time, stacked the same way, and processed all inside of the app. Now, if this new upgraded filter has any interest for you, I do have several of these in the shop currently on Alton Astro prints. They're only $25, and if you're located inside of the US, shipping is usually only about $4 or $5. Now, don't really see these in US retailers like websites like High Point Scientific, Agena. They do not sell any upgraded, you know, filters like this. The only ones that I've seen online is from a company on the other side of the globe in the UK, you know, it's First Light Optics, which sells these for about 35 USD price, but then you have to pay for shipping to come across seas, and that can get very expensive fairly quickly. So basically, I want to try to keep this as affordable as possible for people because the film itself is not all that expensive, but the delicacy of trying to get it inside one of these filter housings definitely is the key, and it is a little bit more on the, you know, forgiving side and being able to be a little bit more rough with it. Just gotta make sure to keep your fingers off of the actual film and stuff like that. So I'll have links to the solar filter and the solar finder down in the description as we continue on to talk about more available accessories that you can have for the Seestar to really improve your astrophotography needs. Now, something else you may not have thought of, especially when you're traveling or camping out in a dark site and you want to bring your Seestar with you. Now, we get about 2 to maybe 3 hours of battery life with just the onboard battery on the Seestar. But what if you want to spend an entire night or even just an entire day up in the mountains doing some terrestrial views or doing some astrophotography in those nice non-light polluted areas? You need some extra power. So you bring, you know, one of these portable battery packs that you could take with you with a USB and be able just to plug it in right to the back of the Seestar, and you got power all night long. So you just go ahead and throw it right on the ground and plug it in, and you're good to go and lasts all night. But what happens when you are just constantly, you know, changing different targets throughout the night, going back and forth? This cord is dangling down underneath, and it may get tangled up. That's actually happened to me a couple of times in the middle of the night, where the USB actually gets pulled out from the Seestar itself, and then my Seestar dies in the middle of the night without me realizing it. So there's got to be a better way, right? Of course there is. With the power of 3D printing, we have something like this. This is a Seestar holder for battery packs, and some very large ones at that too. So you have some clamps here on the outside that will go around the base of the Seestar. Underneath, you have open holes to run your cables, and in through here is where you can put your battery pack. So let's go ahead and throw it on here to show you how easy this is. So you take it from the back side here where the power button is, and all you have to do is just slide it right on over. Easy as that. So underneath, you can run your cables through the holes that you can plug into your battery pack, and then you can just set it vertically just like that. Then you can take your cable, you know, you can wrap it around here a couple of times, and you plug it right in. Now you got power. Your battery pack is not sitting on the ground collecting dew or happens to get waterlogged. everything is all nice, neatly tidied up right on the Seestar stuff. Doesn't mess with tracking, doesn't throw off the calibration whatsoever. It just acts like it's part of the entire system itself. And you can get these for $15 right now, and there's plenty available for this, especially for those who travel and like to have lots of power and not have to worry about cable snags or being able to, you know, have it unplugged from you in the middle of the night by accident. So everything is all nicely neat on your system itself. As we continue on with the series of much needed accessories for the Seestar, now this one's kind of a no-brainer in itself. If you've done any sort of astrophotography in general, you always have to deal with nighttime dew and stray light from, you know, a light post next door at your neighbor's house, or you're in a city and you get some stray light that comes in, or if you just want to help keep that nasty dew off of your lens and ruin your night astrophotography, you need, you know, something like this. Very simple dew shield that you can just slip right on to the front of your Seestar, as like that. Or if you know, want to have more artistic nature and want to have, you know, inspiration from the Hubble Space Telescope, you have other things like this, diffraction spikes, which with the dew shield here, you can actually have it as a 2-in-1. You pop this onto the front here, and there we go. Not only you have protection from stray light and gives better contrast to your images, you can also add a little bit of nice star diffraction spikes. Or if you are an astrophotographer and already have some other filters at your possession, you can have a simple thing as just using regular, you know, 2-inch filters for your Seestar. Even though built in, it has a light pollution filter that is kind of on the similar lengths as the L Enhance from Optolong. But you can also have a nice 2-piece system here where you put in your 2-inch filter, push it right into that, then inside of your dew shield, you can pop that on and you can throw in, you know, a better light pollution filter like the Optolong L Quad Enhance. Or if you're doing some narrowband targets, you can even put down to a 3-nanometer filter from either Optolong, Antlia, and all that kind of stuff. And even, you know, something to help protect your lens in general from dust, because I don't know what for any reason why we never actually got one in the first place. Simple dust cover for your Seestar that you could just plop up there, and then when you are done with the system, you could just leave it on there, turn it off, and it will fit snugly inside of its home position without any worries whatsoever. So you can get the dust cover, a star spike, an adapter so you can add 2-inch filters, and a dew shield, all in one special package for $20. Can't get any better than that. And definitely for those for nighttime use and want to, you know, have some artistic ability to your overall experience, these will definitely come in handy for you. Now I hope a couple of these accessories will be very helpful to you and your usage for the Seestar. It is a very wonderful, innovative smart telescope that we have available at a nice price range of about $500. So just adding a little bit of some extra flavor to your setup will make things a lot easier and less of a headache for you. And that is basically my whole reasoning for this video, because I want to be able to provide, you know, helpful services to others who have had the same problems that I may have experienced and many others when it comes to dealing with, you know, finding the sun, finding targets in general, looking through like a zero finder that kind of aid you in your experiences for the Seestar, you know, helping keeping dew off, protecting your equipment with the cover itself. Maybe you want to add some diffraction spikes, or even just make it a less of a headache of trying to level your Seestar as quick as possible, especially in the dark. So I hope all of this is very helpful, and everything that I talk about today will be down in the description below. So thank you as always for checking it out. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe here to the page. Be sure to check out Alton Astro Prints for all of your astrophotography needs. Thank you as always. Clear skies, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.